Is transformation possible? We hear here and there people saying that the ultimate is to achieve transformation, either in ourselves or other people. Well, I'll try and keep my views short and sweet on this, that if you wanted a home, and it was to be a home of quality, as opposed, say, to a mobile home of low expense. Let's say you want a castle, maybe even going back to German castles Neuschwanstein or Hohenschwangau. Would you say, okay, workers, please deliver all the bricks, all the mortar, all the wood in log form, all the water, everything required. And I just want then a transformation into this castle. Well, if we were to look, it took many, many craftsmen, many, many years to build these castles. I think it also took many years, many lives, much pain, suffering, effort to build the Taj Mahal also in India, if you wanted to call that a castle. Again, would you just say, well, okay, here are all the raw materials in India, please perform a transformation with a magic wand. You just wave a magic wand and bam, there's your new castle. Again, either the first two in Germany or in India. You'd say, well, that's ludicrous. Well, what do we mean then by transformation when it comes to personality, happiness level? Some would even say maybe as part of this character. I had a friend, for instance, ask me a couple years ago, is it possible for someone to change tremendously if they have bad character? You know, you have the phrase that, the person coming out of prison is unreformable. You say they're incorrigible. Statistically speaking, they'll be back in 30 days. Or we hear that phrase also, if someone were to go to rehab, they might come out, and the phrase might be from workers there, see you back in 30 days, or good luck changing. Stick to your meds, so on and so forth. It's genetic. You have a dual diagnosis. Part of it is genetic. Others might say if you come off of a drug, let's say even alcohol, that, he's just destined, she's just destined going to have a relapse. I know also in Christian circles, this probably applies to most any religious viewpoint, the phrase, how important it is to have a contrite heart, or let's say some kind of a conversion experience, whereupon you have an aha moment of transformation. Now, it seems to me there is one kind of a transformation people all over the world through all eons need to have, and it was stimulated to me, the thinking of this as per a book. I believe it went along the lines of, I'm okay, you're okay. And there may be offshoots of this book. But I like to focus on one particular item in this. I think there were 4 models in this concept, this book. But the phrase, I'm okay and you all are not okay, or I as part of a group, we are okay, and those on the outside groups are not okay. I've seen this in family dynamics, country dynamics, the world at large, plays out in economic, quote, classes, religions, what have you. That I'm okay, and any pain I feel is due to you and you only. Now, I like, for instance, Chris Do, D-O, out in California of the Future channel on YouTube, F-U-T-U-R, who talks of how we have input, output, but in the middle is something that we use as per cognitive processes to interpret what comes in. Hence the phrase garbage in, garbage out, in my mind, and perhaps Chris Stowe's mind and some others, is needing to be modified with the phrase perhaps garbage in, but what are we processing it with in the middle to have whatever is going to come out at the end. Thus, those who say previously, maybe in life, or who knows, even to their deathbed, that all my pains were other people's fault, perhaps the greatest transformation of all in humanity and on an individual level is to say, at some point, if ever, I have a role to play in my pain, oftentimes, if not almost always. And it was the premises I had that were upside down that made me interpret my pains incorrectly. Yes, there are multiple factors, including environment that cause pain, how we were brought up as to what we were taught, our education level, skill particularly in mathematics in my book, and alternatively, how well we are at observing, as per the concept put forth by Schopenhauer, the philosopher. But at any rate, yes, seems to me a great transformation, probably brought up too by Alcoholics Anonymous, that isn't going to happen until one, quote, hits bottom, rock bottom, and says, I must have some role to play in my pain. I don't know that it is very often pointed out that it must be premises that are incorrect, but their phrase is stinking thinking. So it strikes me then the greatest transformation, if we're going to say even a contrite heart or change of heart, would be to say, I have a role in this as to the premises I have that I'm going to re-examine when I thought they were all correct. Oh, but of course, after that point in time, there's much work to be done, isn't there? For instance, getting back to my original topic here of building a castle versus something like airdropped from the sky overnight in prefab form, call it a mobile home castle, if you will, at a dirt cheap price and dirt cheap delivery time. Or it strikes me that simply saying part one of transformation, or maybe the majority, is that I want this castle, and justifying it in every way, shape, or form that it could happen. But then, of course, requires the work. And the work is to build brick by brick that castle, or wood beam by wood beam, which can take quite a while. How can we have a transformation of the raw materials into something magnificent overnight? Only with a wave of a magic wand, it strikes me. But the greatest of transformations would be simply to say that it could happen, or a reframing, again, in personality, not in terms of a castle, of our role to play in our pain. There's so many ways to blame shift, so many ways to drug away our pain, so many ways to rationalize. That for many people, they may never come to the point, except sometimes on their deathbed, of saying, I had a role. Isn't that then a transformation, perhaps the only transformation possible? Typically, in my mind, brought about by massive pain to reorient our former thinking. Former thinking, again, what might be called stinking thinking, as per the premises we have that we thought were correct. Often either from wishful thinking or as reinforced from elements of society or our subculture or culture as a whole.